All right, let's dive right into this explainer and honestly solve the universal struggle of youth basketball coaches everywhere. If you've ever stood on a hardwood floor with a whistle around your neck, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Keeping kids focused, keeping them engaged, and actually developing their skills, instead of them just getting completely bored and distracted while waiting in a layup line. Well, today, we're going to completely transform how you run your gym. We're breaking down the ultimate practice plan that literally disguises fundamental basketball development inside high-energy, schoolyard-style games. So here's your game plan for today's explainer, structured exactly like a highly effective 60-minute youth basketball practice. We've got 1. The blueprint for fun. 2. Footwork and dribbling games. 3. Passing and defense drills. 4. Competitive shooting challenges. And 5. Translating skills to scrimmages. Let's get to it. Section 1. The blueprint for fun. Before we blow the whistle and hit the court, we really need to huddle up and establish our core coaching philosophy. Take a look at the YMCA's 7 critical elements of fun. And, understanding exactly why this matters is absolutely crucial. Think about it. Drills make up about 75% of your practice time. So, if your drills are boring, your practice is boring. You've got to keep these kids moving. They absolutely loathe waiting around. By keeping things fast-paced and properly structured, you just completely eliminate that downtime that inevitably leads to misbehavior and lost focus. But hey, just keeping them moving isn't enough. You've got to set your players up for success. And to do that, you have to be their absolute biggest cheerleader. Seriously, a positive, upbeat attitude is incredibly contagious. When you verbally reward and praise their improvement, no matter how tiny it might seem, you build up the confidence they need to actually try the harder skills we're going to introduce later on. Now, as we get into the actual drills, we'll use these specific skill codes to categorize our games. BH for ball handling, D for defense, F for footwork, P for passing, S for shooting, and TW for teamwork. This is how we guarantee that every incredibly fun activity we do actually translates to fundamental basketball development. We aren't just playing games to kill time, right? Every single drill has a specific, targeted developmental purpose. All right, Section 2, footwork and dribbling games. Blow the whistle, let's get the blood pumping. We're moving right into our warm-up and agility games to kick things off with some serious energy. Take the 4 corners footwork drill, for example. You set up 4 lines at the perimeter, and on your call, 1 player from each line dribbles toward the middle cone. Now, here's where the fundamentals kick in. They must perform a jump stop a couple of feet away. And you really have to emphasize a jump stop with a small hop, because the higher they jump, the more off balance they're going to be when they land. After the jump stop, they chin the ball, practice a front or reverse pivot, and pass to the next line. It's fast, it's continuous, and it builds up that absolutely critical muscle memory. Notice how we can instantly gamify what's usually a, let's face it, pretty boring warm-up. Instead of just running mindless laps around the gym, we play red light, green light. The athletes dribble on green, but when you yell red, they don't just stop. They have to execute a perfect jump stop and chin the ball. If an athlete doesn't correctly chin it, or if they fumble their dribble, boom, they restart at the baseline. It really forces them to keep their head up and react instantly. Now let's pick up the pace even more with sharks and minnows. Just picture the setup. Your minnows are lined up on the baseline, each with a basketball, while 1 or 2 sharks wait right in the middle. On your call, the minnows try to dribble across the entire court without getting tagged by the sharks. The absolute genius of this variation is how we handle the players who get caught. In traditional games, kids get tagged, they're out, and they go sit on the bench where they learn, well, absolutely nothing. But not here. In our version, tagged minnows become scarecrows. They stand exactly where they were tagged, but they must maintain a stationary dribble in a good basketball stance. And here's the best part. As scarecrows, they can still tag the passing minnows. So nobody sits out, everybody keeps a basketball in their hands, and the court just becomes this hilarious, chaotic obstacle course. Section 3, passing and defense drills. Time to rotate stations. Now we build the foundation with passing and defense, which, let's be totally honest, are the less glamorous skills that kids usually hate practicing, but we're going to change that. We can completely disguise grueling defensive conditioning with a game of Coach Says. It's basically a Simon Says variation where players only perform defensive moves when prompted correctly. So if you yell, Coach says fire feet, they drop into rapid foot movement with jazz hands. If you say, Coach says defense, they throw a fist in the air, drop into a stance, and literally scream, I love defense. And a pro tip, make sure you do the exercises with them. If you bring the energy, they'll follow, and suddenly defensive slides become their absolute favorite part of the day. To fix boring partner passing, we introduce Monkey in the Middle. You'll place groups of 3 about 15 feet apart, which is a really comfortable passing distance. 2 players are the passers on the outside, and 1 is the monkey in the middle, doing their best to deflect the ball. So the crucial point here is how we actually restrict the offense to build real skills. By strictly eliminating lob passes over the defender's head and forbidding standard dribbling, actually, scratch that, you allow a maximum of 1 sideways bounce, we force the offensive players to rely entirely on the triple threat position. They have to pivot, they have to use eye fakes, they have to fake an overhead pass to get the defender's hands up before throwing a crisp bounce pass. If the monkey gets a deflection, the passer goes in the middle. It's super competitive and highly educational. Section 4. Competitive Shooting Challenges. All right, team, let's move to the grand finale of our practice plan. High-energy, competitive shooting challenges. This is where the gym really gets loud. Next up is Golden Child. This is an incredibly chaotic and fun game that perfectly combines dribbling speed with shooting under pressure. You split your team in half. One team lines up on the baseline with basketballs, ready to dribble the perimeter, while the other team lines up at the free throw line with 1 or 2 basketballs, ready to shoot. Let's see how this builds tension. On go, the first dribbler races around the outside of the half court, trying to score a home run. Simultaneously, the shooting team is frantically trying to make a basket. The very moment a shot goes through the net, the shooting team screams stop, and the active dribbler freezes right in their tracks. It's just a pure race against the clock. As a coach, remember to adjust the shooting distance based on your team's skill level so the game flows well. Oh, and a quick pro tip from the source material, pick the final dribbler, the golden child, carefully, just to avoid putting too much pressure on a kid who might get upset if they get frozen. Another fantastic shooting game is Titanic. You split the players into 2 equal teams at opposite free throw lines. The area behind the free throw line is the ship, and the paint is the ocean. If a player makes their shot, they stay on the ship. But if they miss, splash! They drop into the ocean, they're now shipwrecked and must rebound for their teammates until a teammate saves them by making a shot. It creates this absolutely amazing dynamic where the kids in the ocean are passionately cheering on the shooter to save them. The team that keeps their ship afloat the longest wins the game. Section 5. Translating Skills to Scrimmages. For the final segment of our practice, we need to bring it all together. We have to take all these isolated, gamified skills, the jump stops, the fakes, the shooting under pressure, and translate them into live, chaotic basketball. We do this through a classic game called Steal the Bacon. You split your group into 2 teams and line them up on opposite sidelines. Then, you assign every player on each team a number. So if you have 6 players per team, they're numbered 1 through 6. This drill is just brilliant because it gives you ultimate control over the scrimmage. You take the basketball, throw it into the middle of the court, and call out numbers, like 1, 4, and 5. Instantly, those specific players sprint onto the court for a live 3-on-3 game. What's crucial here is safety and fairness. Always throw the ball slightly to the advantage of one side so kids don't crack heads diving for it. Plus, you can assign matching numbers to players of similar skill levels, which guarantees that your beginners and your advanced players are getting fair, productive matchups every single time. And just like that, our explainer practice is complete. What we've seen today really proves that with a little creativity, you can absolutely disguise hard work, repetition, and fundamental skill building inside schoolyard games. You really don't have to choose between having fun and getting better. You can, and for sure you should, do both. So, as you pack up your clipboard and head back to the gym to face your team, the only question left to answer is, which of these games are you blowing the whistle on first? Will it be the total chaos of Golden Child? Or maybe the fundamental focus of red light, green light? Get out there, bring the energy, and make practice unforgettable.